Looks like everybody's set. We'll open it up for questions for Coach Gattis.
Josh, you have a lot of guys who have looked impressive. Who has sort of stood out to you, or a handful of guys?
I think the whole group is really working hard right now. I think the group is led right now by Yamari and Booby Johnson. But Tyon Russell's really had a good start to camp. Zamondre Merriweather, Cole Weaver, Matt Houghton, Elijah Moore. I mean, we got a ton of guys. And so I'm just really proud of where we are. We still got a long way to go to obviously get game ready, but guys are pushing. We got a ton of depth. Julian McFadden's another guy that stepped up in a big-time way, and so just really excited about the direction we're headed.
Yeah, he was the guy that maybe surprised us in terms of being in an orange jersey already. What have you seen from him so far?
I just think how hard he's worked. I think he's been a huge surprise to us for a guy who was out all spring and pretty much most of last year. He's extremely smart. He's very detailed. He cares a lot about football. And he's come out, he's really showed it, so he's been a huge, pleasant surprise. But the whole group, I think the group is headed in the right direction, and it's led right, and they're really working hard right now.
What's impressed you the most about this wide receiver room and their evolution from spring training to now?
I just think the depth. I think, when you look at the room, I really do think we got 8 or 9 guys that could go out there and play for us game one. And I'm used to having about 4 or 5, and so just the depth, the talent in the room, and just the way they care and love about each other. We have a room that's all together, pushing each other in the right direction. No one's, hating on the other guy or anything by any means. They're all supportive of each other. And when you see that room away from football, you see how connected they are, and that's what's really impressive. They're a fun group to coach, and it's really fun coming in here every day coaching those guys.
Bouncing off of that, I spoke with Cole Weaver last week, and he was telling me that Coach Brown said they're the closest group that he's seen so far bonded. Kind of going off that, how have you seen that chemistry, not just off the field, but on the field as well?
Yeah, it's very much so. Their connection. It's amazing as a coach because it makes it really, really fun to go in that meeting room every day. We laugh, we have fun, but we're all about the details. We take it very serious out on the field. We push each other. They support each other. If you're going to hear someone yelling at the while, it's going to be themselves. They're telling each other, "Come on, let's go," and they're just always together. And so when you got a group of brothers like that, it's really a joy to be around. And they wake up early, come get jugs together. They're eating together. It makes the room really, really competitive and fun.
You mentioned the leadership of Yamari, kind of coming off of injury this last year, and also a stint in the transfer portal. Can you talk a little bit about how important he's been in terms of the retention of him and keeping him here in Syracuse?
Absolutely. I remember last year walking off the practice field, just looking at him saying, if you come back, we just won't waste the opportunity that we have. And that's a young man, that's taking advantage of every opportunity he's been given. Extremely talented. Worked on his confidence in the offseason, developed that alpha mentality, and has been a strong leader, not just for our offensive wide receiver room, but for our team in itself. His big plays continue to happen each and every day in practice. And so he knows that, he's still got a lot of work to do, but he's really headed in the right direction, and that's a guy that I can see playing on Sundays.
Another quick thing I want to ask about is Darian Williams, a CBA grad local to this area. Obviously, not the first CBA grad we've seen come through the Syracuse program, but what are you seeing from him early?
Yeah, Darian's a guy that played last year as a freshman. Extremely smart. He's tough. He's really reshaped his body, put on a ton of weight and strength this offseason. And he's a game changer with the ball in his hand, his speed, and how dynamic he is. And so he's a guy that we find creative ways to get the ball in our hand. And just looking over his shoulder at Hatch. But he's a guy that's made a ton of plays for us.
Coach, what can you say about what Terrell Wilfong and Julian McFadden have been able to bring to that room this camp?
Just young guys that were, those guys were on the scout team, and Jules was hurt pretty much last year. So to see those guys evolve, see their knowledge of the game pick up, they learn the offense, they're making plays for us consistently, I think continues to build their confidence. And, we always talk about being led from the bottom of the room. Those guys have emerged in the room. They're no longer at the bottom as freshmen. Those guys are veteran players, are sophomores now. And so even though there may be redshirt freshmen on the field, those guys are veteran players for us. And so we expect a lot of those guys, and they really have stepped up their game this fall camp.
I think one of the big talks is how good your secondary is. How have you seen your receivers kind of match up with that strong group?
Oh, it's been super competitive in everything that we do, whether it's tackling drills, blocking drills, competitive team scenarios. We take great pride in spending a lot of time upstairs in our meeting rooms. Our rooms are right beside each other. So there's a lot of trash talking that happens up there on a daily basis, but it's a competitive way. It's a fun way. It's to make sure that each and every group is bringing the best out of each other, and iron sharpens iron, and we really have embraced that mentality.
Josh, I'm sure when you guys are all probably, when Steve was going through his stuff, like I'm sure you guys are all looking at him, making sure he's okay. Is there a moment that you remember just like seeing how much it hurt him? And is there a moment that you knew he was like okay, he was back?
Yeah, I think, you just saw it with Steve, just, how fast he traveled back with the team last year. He got hurt, and then 2 weeks later he was on a plane traveling with the team, sitting on the sideline, being a part of some games where, it was emotionally hard for him. So to see the team go through the struggle, he was a guy that, and most times when guys have season-ending injuries, they kind of get removed from the team, or they're doing rehab, they're not around. He was around for every bit of all the adversity last year, so he saw it up close and it really impacted him. And so to see his leadership, the faith in his teammates to continue to believe in him, the hard work he's put himself in to get back this fast, it's truly been, it's been a blessing. He's a tremendous player, got great leadership, leads our team, leads our offense, and so we're glad to have Steve back.
Okay, 3 more for Coach Gattis.
You mentioned Tyon Russell also, if my eyes don't mistake me. He was in an orange jersey as well this practice. Well, what has impressed you about him the most so far?
Just how committed he is to his craft. Tyon Russell could be possibly one of the most talented players we have. Speed, combination, athleticism. He's a special player. He's another guy that I can see playing on Sundays. And really for him, it was really just a mindset of believing in himself, believing in his talent. Obviously, when he came a part of this program from the transfer portal, they saw something inside of him. And now he's gotten to that point where he's playing fast. He's making a ton of plays. He's a big-time player for us, and he'll make big-time plays this upcoming year for us.
We only see a sliver of practice, but from the sliver we got last year, it looked like Tyon struggled a little bit with drops and was having a difficult time. Am I right that it was a struggle, and then what sort of got him through that hump and to where he's playing around?
Well, I think anytime you transfer into a program, you're still trying to feel your way around, right? So I think last year pretty much was a lot of confidence issues for him, just believing in himself, being a new member of the team in the program, and just being able to battle the ups and downs of college football. Obviously he's a guy that he has played college football, but not a significant portion. So this offseason was just about believing in him. We wanted him to know that he needed to believe in himself just as much as we believed in him. And once he did that, his talent really showed up.
Coach, as far as implementing a guy like Demetrius Samuel Jr., just what you do and how you work him in, knowing that he's playing on both sides of the ball, just how you can kind of find his spot.
Yeah, I think just, creating opportunities for him. Obviously he's a full-time corner, but he has such a skill set with his speed and his athleticism when the ball in his hands. And so we want to use as many playmakers as we can on offense. We've got a big core of guys that we truly believe in. Demetrius, Matt Otten, guys that, can touch the ball, Darian Williams. And so we want to just take advantage of all the skill that we have.
With Matt Outen, that's a guy that Coach Nixon said you want to try to get him the ball. Running back, wide receiver, what have you seen from him, and what's kind of some of the ideas that you have envisioned?
I just think when you look at his skill set, it's a little bit different because of the toughness that he brings, the size, the stature. He's a tough guy to bring down. People don't want to hit him, so that gives him a little bit of the flexibility and combination of the two positions. He was a guy that was very successful high school football player, did everything all over the field. So we want to make sure that we're building on those guys' strengths. What they did well on Friday nights, allow them to do it well on Saturday nights.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.